The story of the man who took the toad. Once upon a time, there was a rare farmer couple who prayed to God and prayed to Buddha to get pregnant, but when she was born, she was not a human but a frog. The toad grew up, could speak human language, and had a double appearance. The enemy was rough and ugly, causing his parents to feel sad and often complain to each other, "My husband and I are old and rare. We thought we could give birth to an heir and take care of us, but we were wronged. Karma gives birth to a toad, what else can you expect?" Toad heard that and advised his parents not to worry. Then the next day, the toad jumped out to look after the fields for his parents, and since he took care of the fields, no one stole rice from his fields like before. One day, a few scholars passed through his fields and stepped on the rice. Suddenly heard a sharp sound like a girl's voice saying, "Please go carefully so you don't ruin my rice." The scholars looked at the rice fields, saw no one, only saw a toad sitting there. The sweet voice made one of them feel sympathetic. This scholar had been reading fairy tales for a long time. He believed that there were miracles in life, so he went home and told his parents to ask the toad to be his wife. At first, the scholar's parents thought their child had gone crazy, but he kept thinking. Insisted on marrying Toad as his wife until she could, otherwise she would swear that she would not marry anyone. The father then made up an excuse to refuse, saying that he was the only son. Would marrying a toad give birth to children to continue the family line? Scholars believe that a miracle will happen on Toad's wedding day. The Buddha and immortals will help Toad become a virtuous and beautiful person. Seeing that their son was so determined, his parents had no choice but to comply, bringing betel and areca nuts to ask for a toad. On the wedding day, the groom's family brought all the gifts, jewelry, and clothes for the bride like ordinary people. The bridegroom hopes that the Buddha will turn the toad into a beautiful girl like he always dreamed of. Both of them also expected the same, but when it was time to pick up the bride, everyone had to laugh and feel embarrassed because they brought a jumping toad to her husband's house. The husband's parents were both sad for their son, but also bitter for him. Immediately provided a field for the couple to live separately. Scholars are also sad, studying hard, researching mystical sciences, hoping to solve problems for their families, especially for elderly parents who are longing to have grandchildren. Cock is diligent in his work at home, staying up late and waking up early to advise his husband to diligently write and study. Every day when he comes home from school, he finds the food ready and the house clean and tidy, so he thinks that while he is away, the wife must have shed her toad's guise to become a human, but how can a toad take care of housework so skillfully? Several times he tried to sneak around, leaving and suddenly returning, hoping to find his wife, a beautiful girl, but only found a rough toad at home. He begged the toad to turn into a beauty to make him happy, but the toad remained calm and did not show anything. One night, he told the toad that he had been appointed to teach at a provincial school, confessing that he could not take a wife. Follow if the wife still retains the toad's guise. Since the wedding day, he has endured many taunts from neighbors and friends. Furthermore, his parents still urged him to take another wife to have children to continue the family name. Toad quietly listened to her husband's complaints, advised him not to be too sad, and asked permission to go home the next day to visit his parents. In the morning, Toad followed her husband. After a short distance, she jumped into a bush on the side of the road. The scholar stopped walking and saw a strangely beautiful girl coming out of the bushes, more than he had ever wished for. He happily and bewilderedly looked at his beautiful wife approaching, passionately admiring her from head to toe, and then earnestly begged her to keep her human form from now on. Knowing that his wife had taken off her toad disguise in the bush, he made an excuse to go back and then sneak into the bush to find the toad disguise and hide it on him. Arriving at the house, the scholar's parents were happy to see that the toad daughter-in-law had turned into a beautiful woman. Beautiful, gentle. The husband happily took advantage of the time when people weren't paying attention, so he put the toad's skin into the fire to destroy it. The couple stayed at both parents' house for a few days, happily partying continuously before returning home. On the way home, the wife found an excuse to go into the bushes to look for her old outfit, but when she couldn't find it, the new husband told her that it was "I took it and burned it." The wife had to maintain her human form to return to her husband. The couple lived together lovingly and happily. The wife gave birth to many children, the husband passed the exam and got a great position, living a happy life. Thank you for joining us for today's fairy tale. We hope these stories bring joy and meaning to your day. If you love our channel, please hit the subscribe button so you won't miss any exciting tales. Wishing you a good night and sweet dreams. See you in the next story.